Since we are still in January, I thought it would be very timely to do a video on the importance of identifying and setting up family values. And when I did a poll recently on my Instagram account, a good proportion of my followers told me that they were not clear on their family values and they just didn't know how to go about setting them. So I thought it was definitely an important topic to discuss. Hi, it's Anna here. Welcome back to my channel, the best place for parents or educators who want to grow and evolve with their children. And if you haven't done so already, I would be so grateful if you could fill in a short survey that I have put together. It will help me get valuable insights from you to tailor my content moving forward. And it's also a great way for you to do an assessment on how things are currently going for you and your family, and what goals you would like to focus on this year. I have left a link to the survey in the description of this video. Thank you so much for helping me out with this, and thank you so much to everyone who has already filled it. Now, let's move on to today's topic. First, we will discuss what family values are and why they are important, and then we will discuss my process on how to identify them. And you will see it's not difficult at all. It's actually a very fun exercise to do. So let's start with defining what family values are. I'm sure all of you have been working, whether it's in a corporate job or elsewhere, and you will remember that your company, or at least if it was a good company, had a very clear value statement, which basically conveys to their customers and their staff what their priorities are and what their values are. And for employees, it also serves as a guide for every project that you work on and every decision that you make. The success of a company doesn't happen by chance, and the solid foundation really depends on the company culture and values and how well they are communicated to and upheld by all staff. It's basically a mission statement giving everyone a sense of purpose as to why they are doing the work that they are doing. And it's exactly the same for families. Happy and successful families don't happen by chance. They are created with intention. The problem with parenting, though, is that even though it is the most important job in the world, it is not considered a job. And therefore, most of us tend to fall into it by chance and tend to repeat the values that were passed down to us by our parents and society without really thinking about it. I know that for me and my partner, it has definitely been the case. All our children were planned, but we didn't really stop to think about our family values and our parenting goals. Sure, I had an idea about how I wanted to raise my children, but it was very vague and I never really stopped to think about it. We basically did it reactively as issues occurred. And I would guess that this applies to at least 80% of parents. We usually start thinking about our values and goals when some sort of drama happens and we start thinking that we should probably be more intentional about our parenting. So if you have never set family values or even thought about it, please know it's okay, you're not alone. And today is the opportunity to change that. And in full transparency, we actually didn't set family values until we had our third child. So just know that it's never too late to make a fresh start. So to put it simply, family values are a set of beliefs and guidelines that define what is meaningful to your family and bind your family together. So now let's take a look at why they are important. And I have identified 5 reasons why I think family values are very important. The first one is that, just like I mentioned before with the analogy of corporate companies, they establish a strong foundation for the family. They give family meaning, a sense of connection and belonging as we share the same beliefs and ideas together. I know that when we did this exercise together as a family, my girls absolutely loved being part of the conversation. And now they often say things like, in our family, we focus on solutions. It has really helped foster a stronger connection between all of us, a sense of us being a team. And because of that solid foundation, it means that when a crisis arises, the family is able to withstand it because of the stability of the relational structure. It allows families to stand strong on their views despite other people's efforts to break through with opposing beliefs. And it also provides a safe space to come back to when we encounter problems in the outside world. Because in a world full of uncertainties, you can see your values as a safety net. The second reason is that they help family members make decisions intentionally. Family values influence the decisions that people make both within the family structure and outside of it. They help family members make good choices because they have a set of beliefs to guide them. And Susan David puts it really well in her book Emotional Agility. And if you haven't done so already, I really recommend that you watch my book summary that I did. And I will leave a link in the description of this video for you. She says values are your why. They provide the moral compass that keeps you moving in the right direction. Clearly articulating the attitudes and meanings your family associate with living their life. These family values define what you think is important and what is good, and they help teach kids the difference between right and wrong. The third one is that they provide guidance for raising children. We all know that parenting is challenging, and we are often influenced by the outside world, what other families are doing, the judgment from other people, so it can be hard to know what direction we want to take. These family values are so helpful because they are basically a code for the family, a map for the family, that you, the parents, must model in your daily interactions. And when disciplining and setting limits, you're often going to be connecting to these values. You may have unconsciously started saying things like, in our family we are kind, hitting is not okay, or in our family we respect each other and speak kindly to one another. And when we know our family values and generally live by them, it will be so much easier to make decisions for our children, and easier as well to stop comparing our family with other families who may not have the same values as us. Comparing then becomes irrelevant. And this brings me to the fourth reason, which is that they can protect us from outside influences. And it's especially important for teenagers when peer pressure gets stronger. If someone has a strong sense of what is right and wrong based on the values that they were raised with, then they are less likely to be swayed by peer pressure or people with bad intentions. And finally, family values help guide people in relationships. People usually relate to others who share the same values as them because they are more compatible with one another. But to find compatibility, you need to know what you believe in so you know what to look out for when looking for a mate or a friend. And families with strong values are usually able to identify these values in others very quickly. So now let's discuss the process that I followed to set up our family values. And it's important to mention here that family values aren't universal. They will be specific to each family because we are all unique individuals from different backgrounds, different cultures. So there will be differences between one family and another, even if it's a slight difference. Being a good parent can mean so many different things for different people based on what they value most. So I will take you through my process now, and I actually have left a PDF in the description of this video with a list of values and a step-by-step guide to make it easy for you to do this exercise with your family. And if you haven't done so already, I also highly recommend you watch this video summary that I did, where Brené Brown goes through her top 10 family values. So personally, I think the best way to do this is to start by sitting down with your partner and go through your core personal values, where each of you make a list of their own personal values. And questions to ask yourselves are, what are my top 5 personal values? And what are my partner's top 5 personal values? And a great way to do this is to go through the list of values that I've provided and see how each one makes you feel. Usually our core values will jump at us. It should be quite straightforward based on the feeling you get when you read it. It's probably also important to mention that we are talking about your core values, and it doesn't mean you don't care about other things. It's just not a core value. For example, my core values don't include giving back. However, we definitely donate to charities and are very generous. So once you have spent some time thinking about your personal values, it's time to figure out how to integrate them with the rest of the family. And this is where you get your kids' input, especially if they are 5 years and above. Personally, we have successfully involved my 7 and 5-year-old in the process, and they both had great input. And you can do this as a family meeting. It actually makes the exercise really fun to all do it together. And your family values then become a blend of each person's core personal values, and it needs to be done collaboratively. So it's really a discussion that you do all together. And I think that's a much better process rather than simply taking a list of family values from Google and arbitrarily choosing them, because it's much more collaborative and true to what is important to each member of the family. And it's not just integration. There are also some values that may not necessarily be personal values that you as a parent may think are important and relevant for your kids. So for example, cooperation or teamwork may be one that is quite important to you and your family, but not necessarily on your list of personal values. So you really need to think about all of this. And when involving your kids, you should ask open-ended questions like, what is the most important to our family? What do you love most about our family? What do we enjoy doing? What do we dislike doing? What do we want to do better? What makes you feel good in our family when you have problems? What makes you most proud about our family? Or what do you look forward to when you come home? And this process, like I mentioned before, is actually really fun, and I was very impressed with what my kids came up with. They felt very enthusiastic about the whole process, and I could see that they felt a sense of belonging and love as we valued their input, and the end result was what our family is about. And also, because they were involved, it means that it's a part of them, so they feel responsible and empowered to uphold to these values as well. And to emphasize what this exercise is about even further and to make it even more practical, I wanted to share with you what our family values ended up looking like. So as you can see, combining my core values with my partners and my kids' input, as well as thinking of values we would like to hold as a family and instill in our kids, we came up with overall themes, and then we wrote it in an easy to understand language for the kids. And to make this exercise even easier for you, I will actually leave a link in the description of this video to my family values. So it's a link to Canva, and it's very easy. All you need to do is to create a free account on Canva, and you can actually use my template and make changes based on your own family values. So it's a lot easier for you. So no excuses, you have to do this exercise. As you can see, I'm very keen for as many families as possible to do this exercise together. I think it's a beautiful exercise to do together, and it makes a huge difference in the family dynamic. And this is not just a piece of paper that you stick on the wall and forget about. This is something that you need to regularly take a look at to make sure that you embody these values. And of course, you won't always be able to abide by these values. I can certainly confirm that we fail at times in our family. We are humans after all. This is basically your family guide, and you can use it by checking in from time to time to see how you are doing as a family and if you need to make any adjustments to what you are doing. Or sometimes you will actually want to make changes to the values themselves, and that's also totally okay. We are all growing and evolving, so it makes sense that values may shift from time to time. Or some issues may arise that you hadn't thought about that make you think about a different value that you want to bring about. It's a document that grows with you as a family. That's it for today. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and please leave me a comment. I would love to know if you actually participate in this exercise and what you think about it. Thanks for watching and keep growing.